What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to Jeremy's Point of View. Here in today's episode, I wanted to discuss with you guys my favorite team, the Carolina Hurricanes. I wanted to dive into how the season has been going so far, what we might need to do to add to this team to win a Stanley Cup this year. Team has been playing fantastic, and I really do think that this could be the year we go after Lord Stanley and we might bring it home for the first time in quite some time. So guys, before we dive into this video, please hit that like and subscribe button. Also check out the channel's sponsor, Arcadian. Arcadian is a fantastic company that makes high quality goat's milk soaps, beard oils, bath bombs, body sprays, you name it. There's a men's line and a women's line. Fantastic products. And if you guys use my new code JPOV25Canes, which will be in the description box below, you guys can save 25% off your order today. Now, I'm also going to let you guys in on a little secret. There are some fantastic Carolina Hurricanes scarves available right now through Arcadian. And if you use that code, you can save 15% off. I believe there's a few left and available. I think only a handful. So go ahead, go check it out and get yourselves a sweet, unique, 100% custom-made Carolina Hurricanes scarf right now. Also, check out the description box for my Teespring store. You guys can find fantastic items like this Jeremy's Point of View mug. All the proceeds go towards funding the channel, and there's going to be a ton of new products coming out soon. I will let you guys know, and I'll keep you guys posted as to when those items come out. Now let's go ahead and dive into this video. Now, the Carolina Hurricanes, as we head into the All-Star break, are 34-9-8. They got 76 points, and we're first in the Metropolitan Division. We're coming off a big 5-1 win over the Buffalo Sabres. And this season, right now, we are 8th out of 32 teams in goals for with 173 goals for, and we've got 136 goals against, which puts us 6th out of 32 NHL teams. So right now we've got a top 10 offense, and we're just shy of having a top 5 defense. Obviously, for this team, we've always been built around the defense. Our defense has been fantastic. Last year, lights out. This year, still coming into our own. I think it took some time, especially early on in the season, for Brent Burns to kind of find his way and find his groove with the rest of the players on this team. But players like Jalen Chatfield have been having breakout seasons, been playing fantastic. Brady Shea as well. And also, they talked about this on the last broadcast, our defense has the most points for out of any other defense in the entire NHL. I think as of the last time I looked at it, we had 33 goals scored for our defense, which is the highest goal scored out of any defense in the NHL, which really speaks volumes as to what this defense has been able to do this year. Not only being 6th out of teams in allowing goals, but able to put up goals consistently night in and night out. And Brady Shea, now working on the power play, has been a big part of that. This team has really come a long way this season, and we've been playing our best hockey as of late. So let's go ahead. I wanted to dive into some players this year. So Martin Necas. Obviously, Martin Necas is having a breakout season right now. In 51 games played, he's got 21 goals for, 26 assists, 47 points at a +8. The dude's been playing phenomenal. This is the Martin Necas we all thought he could be, and he's a player that, as we head into the playoffs this season, we need him to consistently continue to do what he's been doing. He's been one of the most consistent players on the team. He is just shy of a point per game, and I mean, this guy has been unbelievable in overtime. He's been unbelievable just in general, and he's a player that I couldn't be happier to see have such a great breakout season, and I hope it continues. He's a player that really disappeared down the stretch last season, and he didn't really show up in the playoffs. He was a player a lot of people talked about possibly should have been benched last season. So the fact that he's playing as good as he is, I really hope he's able to take that and carry it over into the playoffs this season. Another one, Sebastian Aho, man. Ever since coming back from that injury, he has been lights out. 44 games played, 23 goals, 23 assists, 46 points. He's over a point per game player, and he's at a +9 rating right now. He's been phenomenal. He's probably, if not one of the best two-way centers in the game, and the way he's been playing as of late, if he can carry that through the rest of the season and into the playoffs and continue to be a point per game player, that is exactly what we are going to need from him this season. We need him to not have those moments in the playoffs where he kind of disappears for a handful of games. We need him to do this and do this consistently as we head into the playoffs this year. Now, speaking of a player that's been a little bit cold as of late, Andrei Svechnikov, 51 games played, 19 goals, 23 assists, 42 points, and a -2 overall. What can I say? The guy's had moments this year of just absolute brilliance. When he's on fire, man, he can sling the puck better than anybody out there. He's got a crazy good release, and Andre has had an up and down season. He's looked really, really good early on this year. I really thought this was going to be a career year for him. He's been a bit colder as of late, but at the same time, he's still playing very, very solid hockey. Defensively playing very solid. He's had some moments here and there, but he's really taken his almost power forward like game to the next level this year. He's playing more physical. He's laying the hits out there, and he's doing what he needs to do. But we really need Andre as we head into, this last stretch of the season, head into the playoffs, to really take that next step. We're going to need him to be close to a point per night player if we want to, go farther this year, if we want to get out of the second round of the playoffs this season. At the same time, Brent Burns, 51 games played, 10 goals, 27 assists, 37 points, +7 rating. He's been fantastic. I mean, what can I say? At 38 years of age, Brent Burns was an absolute steal this offseason. Early on in the season, he had some moments, and I was a bit worried at his age that he was going to be a bit of a defensive liability. Now, obviously, being paired with a guy like Jacob Slavin does help, but I do think Brent Burns, for the most part, has been very solid defensively, especially for a guy that is much more offensive-oriented. For a defenseman, he's been very, very good, and I really think him playing with Slavin night in and night out has really helped him step up his defensive game. And speaking of Jacob Slavin, he's been out for a few weeks with injuries. I really do hope that we take it slow with him. Slavin is a guy we're going to need going into the playoffs this year. Slavin is probably one of, if not the best defensive defenders in the entire NHL. And what we've been able to do the last few weeks has been pretty amazing, especially figuring we didn't have Slavin in there. With him being out, the other defensemen have been able to step up. Jalen Chatfield, breakout season this year. The guy has been very solid, and you can just see he's really coming into his own. He's starting to put up more points. He's starting to show the speed that he has out there on the ice, and he's just been fantastic in that third-line pairing. He was a player I really wanted to see play more last year, and we had Ian Cole, we had Brendan Smith, but I felt like Jalen Chatfield was a player that deserved to play last year, and I'm really glad he got a chance this season. I'm really, really glad he has come into his own, and he has really solidified his starting spot on that third defensive pairing. Now, at the same time, we've got players like I said, Brady Shea. He's got 10 goals, 13 assists, 23 points in 50 games played. He's a +17. Obviously, Shea, Pesci, they have been fantastic as a defensive pairing, but Shea has really come into his own as a goal scorer this year. He has already broken his career best numbers, and, a lot of that has to do with him getting time on the power play. That is something that, moving him into the power play was kind of fantastic. The team has struggled on the power play. We played a bit better on the power play as of late, but that is something that we need to continue to try to solidify. If we can't get the power play going in the playoffs, it could definitely mean doom for this team. When this team is playing 5-on-5 hockey, there's not a lot of clubs out there that can go toe-to-toe with us. But when it comes to the special teams, that is where we've struggled a bit. Now, the penalty kill this year, not as good as last year, but if you've watched as of late, especially even without Slavin in there, we've really come into our own, and I think the penalty kill is really starting to find its groove. If you saw what we did against the Boston Bruins the other night, 6 power plays, I believe it was, for the Bruins, and we shut them out on all 6 power plays. And mind you, the Bruins are the #1 team in the NHL right now, and their power play is one reason for it. But at the same time, our penalty kill's been playing even better, and the Stahl-Martinook line has been just unbelievable this season. Martinook, breakout season for him. He has been playing extremely well. He was a guy that at the start of the season I didn't think, I really wanted to see one of the young guys get a chance to step in, and I thought it was time for Martinook to kind of head off into the sunset. But Martinook, from the start of the season, he's been healthy for the first time, he said, in a couple seasons, and you could tell he's been out there playing every night like his job is on the line. He gives 150% every night, and yes, the Stahl, Martinook, Foss line is not going to be a line that scores a ton of goals every single night, but what they are able to do on the forecheck, the grindy, physical style, and what they're able to do against a lot of top teams, a lot of teams' top lines, is they're able to keep them in their defensive zone for large portions of the game. That's really where we frustrated and stifled the Boston Bruins. We kept Bergeron and Marchand and Pasternak in their defensive zone for large stretches of the game. And if you're able to have a line that can physically, keep the forecheck going, keep the top players in their zone for large stretches of the game, you really, really take away a lot of their offensive opportunities. It's why our defense, continues to thrive. It's why our offense continues to thrive, because we really take their top lines out of the game. We saw in the games against Pittsburgh this season, I believe we swept the Pittsburgh Penguins this year. And Stahl against Crosby was a big part of it. Stahl is a guy that can blanket some teams' top centers and really, cause them to struggle to get anything going, or any goal scoring, any offensive zone time going in games. And that's been a really, really powerful tool for this team. That third line, there's not a lot of third lines that can compete with the Carolina Hurricanes' third line. And us continuing to stay healthy there and continue that aggressive forecheck as we head into the playoffs this season is going to be huge. Continuing to stifle teams' top pairings is going to be huge. So let's take another look here, scroll down. Like I said, Chatfield, great season. Max Pacioretty, that one is heartbreaking. Seeing him come back as soon as he did, I was extremely worried he was coming back too soon, and it appears that he did. Now, obviously, I don't know. He could have come back an extra month later and still suffered the same Achilles injury again. We just don't know. But ultimately, he looked fantastic in the couple weeks he came back. The dude still got it as far as a pure goal scorer, and we are going to severely miss that as we head into the playoffs. And that's where the talk kind of opens up now. What does the team need to do as we head into the trade deadline? Players like Coghlan have really come into their own lately. I think Chatfield on the third pairing is a piece that I want to keep there heading into the playoffs. I think there's 2 to 3 areas we could target heading into the trade deadline. Now, Don Waddell has been known to not want to pay a high price for a one-off rental. We like to bring in players that we can lock in or bring in for a couple more seasons. We're not one that wants to bring a player in, trade away the future to just have a player for one postseason. So what decisions do we make? I think adding to the blue line is going to be important. I think if we could get ourselves another defenseman on the left-hand side that could be a big physical presence, I think that would be important. Now, don't get me wrong, DeHaan, Coghlan, they've been solid. They add depth to the defensive pairing, but I think adding a physical, strong, big-bodied defenseman to that pairing with Chatfield could be very big, especially as we head into the playoffs. We know how physical things get in the playoffs, and having that big defensive physical threat would be huge. And then, once again, it would add depth to where we're already got a lot of depth on the blue line. At the same time, do we target somebody to fill Max Pacioretty's shoes? Now, I discussed in my last video, Timo Meier, Vladimir Tarasenko, players like that, even Bo Horvat. Now, obviously, Horvat went to the Islanders. Ryan O'Reilly, another trade target. He's a player that could come in. And it really comes down to, what does Waddell want to do? Kotkaniemi has not really taken this next step this season. We wanted him to, but he has been playing much, much better on that fourth line, and I think overall he's been making better decisions. He's been playing a much better two-way game, but he's not putting up the points that we need out of a second-line center. So do we target somebody like Ryan O'Reilly, who has a ton of playoff experience, who could really add depth to that second-line center position and really solidify the top two lines on this team? Or do we go after a player like, say, Tarasenko, another pure goal scorer, somebody that could take over where Max Pacioretty left off and really bring another point per game player into the playoffs, somebody that could fill that role, could help us put more points up in the playoffs, help us score more goals. We already know defensively this team has got it. We know as far as the goalies, we've got 3 goalies that could potentially start for us. Ranta was fantastic in the playoffs last year. He's had a solid season this year. He's had his moments. He has his off games. He has games where he gives in some leaky pucks. But Ranta's still been a very, very solid number 2 goalie. Kochetkov is the future. We locked him up for 4 years this season, and I see him as the future. Now, if we have to go into the playoffs this year with, say, Freddie and Kochetkov, say Antti and Kochetkov, I feel very good about it. If we head in with Freddie and Antti, I feel very good about it. Freddie looks like he is finally getting healthy. He's finally looking good, but as we all know, Freddie, Antti, injury proneness, it is there. So having Kochetkov still gives me, a lot more comfort as we head into the playoffs as far as in the goalie side of things. So really just it comes down to, do we add a goal scorer? Do we add a center? And do we go after another defenseman? Now with Pacioretty out for the rest of the season, it opens up some cap space. We also have a lot of really good prospects that we could move. We have a lot of trade capital we could use. So there's a lot of things the Canes could do, and I would not be surprised if we at least make a few moves as we head into this trade deadline. Ultimately, I'd love to hear what you guys think. If you want to let me know in the comments section below, what do you guys think we need to add as we head into this postseason? Do we need to add to another defenseman? Do we need to target a goal scorer? Should we add a center to solidify that second line? What is it that we need to take that next step as we head into the playoffs this season? I really feel good about this team. I really think this team is coming into their own. Games like the Bruins game really gives me the hope and shows me that on any given night, this team can beat any other club, any other of the 32 NHL teams. And, we've had some tough stretches this year, and there were some stretches where I was reading a lot of comments on some message boards and things of that where people were like wanting to blow things up with the Hurricanes. Oh my God, the Canes are in trouble. Every NHL team is going to go through a cold spurt. When you play 82 games in a season, you can't win them all. You can't be on fire for all 82 games. These guys get banged up. It is a grueling schedule. And it's really just about catching fire at the right time, going into the playoffs with some momentum, and keeping the team and the core of the team healthy. The beautiful thing about the Canes is we've built this team from the ground up. We've done it correctly. There's a reason why teams like the Vancouver Canucks are in salary cap hell. You cannot build a team through free agency. You cannot build a team through overpaying players. And that is one thing that Don Waddell has done a fantastic job. We have not overpaid. We do not have any salary cap hell going on this team. There are no players locked in for terrible contracts. Now, yes, the Kotkaniemi $5 million deal, that could end up biting us in the ass down the line if Kotkaniemi is never able to, live up to the potential that he has. If he doesn't, that's going to be something we're going to have to take a look at. But as of right now, it's not killing us. We've got players like Burns on very good salary cap deals. And right now, I look at the Carolina Hurricanes Stanley Cup window as being this year and next year. We've got Burns at 38. He's going to probably have this season potentially another 1 to 2 years where he could still play at the level he's playing at. It's amazing he's still playing the way he is at 38 years of age. But I say we've at least got this year, potentially next year. Brady Shea is looking like the best Brady Shea he could look. Aho is in his prime. Svechnikov is coming into his prime. And Nichas is starting to come into his prime. So we've got the right pieces coming into their primes at the right time. We've got the right players. We've got the defense that we've always built this team around. Our third line with Stahl and Martinook and Fost is playing the best. They're playing the best hockey they have played. I've got a lot of high hopes for this team. I want to know, though, ultimately, like I said, what do you guys think about the team so far? Where do you guys think we're going to go this year? Can we win the Stanley Cup? I got high hopes. Obviously, I'm a fanboy, so it is what it is, but I got a lot of high hopes that we can win the Stanley Cup this year. It's going to be a hell of a time. The Stanley Cup is obviously the hardest trophy to win in all of professional sports. It is a grueling playoff series, winning those 7-game series, And the team, a lot of things have to fall into place. Like I said, staying healthy and winning and consistency night over night. It's grueling. It's tough. It's hard. And I'm excited to see what we're able to do this year as a team. Let me know, though, once again in the comment section below what you guys think. Are there any players I did not talk about that we potentially could target as we head into the postseason? And once again, hit a like and subscribe, and check out the description box below for all that good shit I talked about at the beginning of the video. Until next time, please check out Jeremy's point of view, and I'll see you guys in the next episode. Till then, peace.